Hello. It just goes to show nothing ever goes entirely to plan. I had intended not to use the intro video this week, but I forgot to change the setting. That's how it goes, I suppose. So if you are watching live, there's always a bit of a delay between me actually hitting the go live button and you seeing this. So wherever you are watching, if you are watching live, jump into the comments and let me know. I'm always curious to know if they're actually going to work, because I don't stream on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or where's the other place this goes live? Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube directly. I use a third-party app. So if you're seeing this, drop me a comment wherever you're watching. Just A, so I know you're there, and B, I know the system's working. So I have a few things I want to go through today. But first of all, if this is the first time we've met, and I'll be surprised if you're watching this, if it is, my name is Bob Gentle, and I do a few different things. I wear a few different hats. First of all, I am the host of the Personal Brand Business Show podcast. I realized today I've been doing that for nearly 4 years, and I'm closing in on 200 episodes. So if you do listen to the podcast, thanks for coming to the live stream. This is a completely different thing, but it's still me. But what do I do? What is my business? I'll quickly tell you. So I work with business leaders around the world, from startups right through to the C-suite, to build, market, and monetize a mission-driven personal brand. I do that through workshops, through corporate consulting, through one-to-one and group coaching, as well as through the podcast and YouTube and things like that. So if you are frustrated by people eating your lunch online and you want to play bigger and you have no idea where to start, then call me. I will be delighted to help you with that. If you are joining us live or in the replays, you can comment at any time. If you have any questions, then just jump in and let me know. So as I mentioned last time, this live stream is a little bit of a make it up as you go along type thing. I don't really know what it's ultimately going to become, but what I do know is that I want to build it in public with you. You can co-create this live stream with me. Now, I'd like to share a couple of stats from last week's live stream. I want to share you a couple of things. The first one is actually what happened. What were the numbers? So I have a post-it note here, and on this post-it note are the stats from last week's live stream. So I will share them with you. So on my Facebook page, this video was viewed 59 times. On the Facebook group, only 16 times. On Twitter, it was viewed 10 times. And on LinkedIn, a massive 32 times, 34 actually. And on YouTube, 14 times. Now, you might read those and think, what a waste of time. Those are terrible numbers. And if you judge anything that you do online by the numbers, you're missing the point. Because what was really interesting to me was that despite those low numbers, the live stream generated 2 phone calls. Those phone calls have very likely led to probably maybe £15,000 worth of business over the next 12 months. Which for me is a huge return on investment. All I had to do was show up online, have a bit of chat, and that triggered people to call me. That's worth doing in my book. So as we continue with this live stream, I'm going to continue to share those results with you. I do expect the numbers to climb over time. This is one of the things with live streams. I know lots of people who do big live shows, and they always kind of tell me the same thing, is at the beginning it feels like a waste of time. And gradually over time, it becomes a significant part of your content marketing journey. So this is a journey you're going to get to come on with me. This is my hashtag Build in Public project. So where am I with my notes? So yeah, I think one thing, the very first lesson to me is that this live stream is not about big numbers. This live stream is about connecting with one person. And right now, if you're that person that's watching, and currently the system tells me there's 2 people watching live, only 2. Ridiculous. then I'm literally here for you right now. So if you have any questions about anything I'm doing, do feel free to ask in the chat. So this week on the podcast, we have an interview with a guy called Will Sampson. Will is in the US. I'm not going to go too deep into what Will Sampson does or who he is, but one of the things that we spoke about was interdependence. And this is a theme that I've seen through podcast guest after podcast guest, working with incredibly successful business owner after incredible successful business owner. Something that I've found time after time is it doesn't seem to matter who they are and what they do. Their success is never something that they've arrived at alone. And this isn't necessarily to do with their team. It isn't necessarily to do with marketing. It's everything to do with fellow travelers and sharing their journey with other people. And it's also about something that I would call normalizing the extraordinary. Many of you listening, watching, will have heard this phrase that your income will rise to the level of the 5 people you spend most time with. And this is something, yes, I think it's largely true, and it's why business owners should often spend time with other business owners, because you normalize the extraordinary. In that phrase, that your income will rise to the level of the 5 people you spend most time with, there's other versions of that, and I think these are equally true. Your courage will rise to the level of the people you spend most time with. Your expectations will rise to the level of the 5 people you spend most time with. Your personal growth and your vision will also rise to the level of the people you spend most time with. So I would encourage you to think, who are the people that you spend most time with? That can be virtually, that can be in real life. It doesn't really matter. For me, things like masterminds, coaching groups have been fundamentally important for me being able to shift my perspective on what's possible for my business, to think bigger. So I would encourage you to think, who's leading your thinking? Peter Gavel, I actually have a comment on YouTube. Outstanding, Peter. Keep seeing people all around. I think I can do something with this. Show on stream. There we go, Peter. My first live stream comment. This is a landmark for me, Peter. So I keep seeing people all around now, saying that it's all about relationships. Let me move that so I can actually see the whole of that comment. You seem to be along that track as well. Do you agree, and why? To an extent, I do agree. It's not all about relationships, but relationships are fundamentally important. If you've listened to the podcast, you'll have heard me ask many guests that opportunity can come to us through outbound sales activity. It can come through ads. It can come through referrals. Well, referrals, I'll come back to that one. Or it can come through our content and our content marketing. But it doesn't seem to matter who you are, what level of business you're at. The real opportunities that move the dial come through relationships. And this is as true for Pat Flynn or John Lee Dumas as it is for me. The difference is the relationships that they maintain are with people who are of orders of magnitude more impact than mine. So yes, I think at every level of business, the relationships that you maintain will reflect what you achieve. So what this would suggest is go out and intentionally build relationships with people who are trying to play bigger. I often, in my work with clients, I use a terrible analogy, and it's an analogy of time travelers. That for some reason, when you watch a movie, and it's a science fiction, I'm a science fiction fan, and there are 2 time travelers in this movie. For some reason, they always bump into each other. They recognize each other. It's a little bit like in The Matrix, where all the people in The Matrix that are the non-playing characters, for example, they're kind of going around doing their business. But the people from The Matrix, they immediately see each other. People who are trying to play a bigger game recognize other people who are trying to play a bigger game, and they help each other. You move out of this competitive landscape and into a very different mode of operating. And this is something that I see all the time. So yes, I do see that as being absolutely true. So this brings me on to the next thing, I guess, is, you need to begin the journey of cultivating a network of fellow travelers. And if you're somebody that's used to doing business in a local business community, you're going to find it very difficult to connect with the kind of people who are playing that much bigger. You're going to need to go online. And that's why I would invite you to join my Facebook community. It's something that I want to be a lot more intentional about cultivating. It's my own Facebook community, but also make it one of your main tasks in your business to identify a peer group that's going to support you in exactly this kind of thing. They're going to encourage you to be more courageous, have a different level of expectation for your business, personal growth, and your vision. Those are so important. Now, I have a couple more thoughts. The one thing that I definitely see as a problem in many business is this whole thing of standing out online. It's very difficult for a lot of people. People, and I see this especially with very competent, very confident business owners. As soon as they go online, they act like frightened children. They think people might make fun of me. People might not like me. What if people call me out? What if I show up as a fraud? And all these things they're perfectly normal when you go online, but they're what prevent an awful lot of people doing the things that will really change up your digital marketing. So what do I mean by this? Well, it's very easy for anybody listening to say, well, none of my competitors seem to do these very difficult things, like a live stream, for example, or making any kind of video content. I spoke to somebody last week, and he is brilliant at what he does. Everything he does is very visual. He's very charismatic, but he quivers at the thought of going online. And what I love about this is it's a huge opportunity, because all of his competitors are busy trying to out-normal each other. They're busy posting pictures of their work or telling everyone about the clients that they have, but they never show up and build a relationship online. So I have to ask myself, how's that working out for them? If this little thing, if you keep doing what you've always done, you always get what you always got. And that's not a marketing strategy. Doing the same thing as everyone else is not a marketing strategy. Out-normaling your competitors is not a marketing strategy. Same does not get noticed. Better also, most of the time, doesn't get noticed. Different gets noticed. And being different from your competitors, it is scary. And it's why a lot of people avoid it. And that's why it's exciting, because the way I would frame it is, if you can imagine there is a pot of gold sitting in the middle of a thorn bush. Your competitors aren't going to go there because it's painful, but you know it's there and it regenerates every 24 hours. So you get comfortable, you find a way through this rose bush, that pot of gold is always going to be there for you. So I have to ask yourself, what prevents you from building a strong online brand? Is it the strategy? For some people, it might be they don't want to move until they have the master plan. Is it the tactics? They don't know the detail of exactly what they're going to do on a day-to-day basis. Is it the tech? Is it the tech? For you, it might be the tech. For a lot of people, it is. So if it's the tech, learn about the tech. Don't be scared of it. Or is it simply your mindset? Is it fear? Is it imposter syndrome? Is it anxiety? All of those things? The answer is probably yes. But you didn't let that get in the way of all the other scary things you did in your business. So why are you letting that get in the way of your business? Because at the end of the day, your business will only grow when you grow. This is a fundamental truth. So if you would like help with any of those things, I would love to hear from you. Coming up this coming Monday, we are going to have another podcast I can't remember who it is. Let me have a quick look. Who's on the podcast this coming week? Bum, 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 bum. I'll tell you very quickly. So this week, coming up on the podcast, we have Dan Bennett. And Dan Bennett is going to basically make video far less intimidating for you. Dan Bennett is an expert in helping entrepreneurs specifically ease their way into video marketing online. So if that sounds exciting to you, do head over to the podcast and subscribe to that. So that's it from me. I'll let you know what happened with the live stream next week. Next week, I may actually have a guest. I don't know who that is yet. It's going to be as much a surprise for you as it is for me. But yeah, if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. And for now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.